It's time for one of the absolute heaviest hitting matchups of the day. We are going to be moments away from starting cypher versus vengeurR here for our latest week of the Quake Pro League. Well, my name is Ketchup, joined by the always wonderful Flea. Flea, what can we say about both of these players that honestly hasn't been said like a million times over?
Yeah, they absolutely are some of the most talented players in the entire business, right? cypher used to be a real prodigy way back in the day, and then vengeurR, only 19 years old, plus 3, give or take by now, but still, one of the younger players in the Quake Pro League. Both of these guys are absolutely buzzing with talent, and they do have a bit of a history. If we look back towards the Stage 1 finals, it was cypher who beat vengeurR 3-1, I believe, stopping him at the very last stage before making it into the finals day himself. So cypher essentially blocked him from getting to once again perform in the finals. cypher ended up getting a nice 4th place victory that tournament. vengeurR didn't quite make it as far, so I do think that he's hungry for revenge.
And I mean, both of these players, they wouldn't even be, and I know for a fact with conversation I've had, especially with vengeurR, not content with top 4 finishes. They don't want to say I placed top 4 or top 3. They want to say, I won this tournament, because they know they have it in them to achieve those things, because they are some of the best players, not only in Quake Champions, but cypher, a legend of Quake, and vengeurR, I think I've said so many times, for me really is the kind of perfect example of the younger generation of players that no doubt grew up with Quake and watching all these kind of players in tournament, where now you find yourself in a league with players that you've looked up to for so many years, and you are one of them now. You are capable of taking them out yourself and reaching these great heights. I can't imagine how much of a good feeling that must honestly be to even be the reality for vengeurR, but he wants to move forward. He wants to be a new legend in his own right and has all the pieces to make it happen.
Absolutely, and then on the other hand, you've got cypher, of course, one of the most accomplished players in all of Quake's history, spanning well beyond Quake Champions. The man right now looking to finally get that first really big win on the board. We've seen him do tremendous things. He's, in my eyes, still one of the greatest of all time, an extremely unorthodox player, capable of thinking outside of the box and coming up with these impossible solutions. So vengeurR clearly has got his work cut out for him today.
But what we can all expect is a really, really, really good matchup. And I'm just looking forward to seeing the picks and bans. I'm pretty sure I can venture a guess over the first map with us being here in the lobby, but I'm not going to say it just in case they haven't changed it yet. But it is correct. Corrupted Keep. The Doomslayer versus the Galena. The Sorlag, quite rightly removed, I think. Exile is going to be the map afterwards. Clutch taken away as well. We've seen vengeurR do some damage with that. And that's going to be Visor and Keel. And then Ruins, Anarchy taken away with Nyx versus the BJ. Because, interestingly, Keel was already used on Exile. So we can't see cypher go with the pick on Ruins, which is normally what he would do.
Yep, absolutely. Kind of going through it again. Exile, happy to see that map. It's, of course, the latest and greatest addition to the Quake map roster. First time we're getting to see it today. Other than that, Ruins, Eisen versus Nyx, Exile. Of course, the Visor versus the big man Keel, and then Corrupted Keep, Galena versus Doomslayer. Very standard picks. Nothing really immediately stands out to me. This should be an interesting series, Ketchup.
Certainly cold enough in the UK for Exile to be appropriate, let me tell you. But in terms of predictions, this one is like heart or brain, perhaps, for some people. It depends on kind of going by recent statistics, I guess. But I have to ask you again, Flea. Who, and I'm going to let you answer first.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the hard job. Who do you think has the edge here?
Very difficult to say. I was right on the spot last time. Looking at their previous histories, I think that vengeurR has had the strongest showing in this stage so far. I think he's also very hungry for revenge. I'm gonna say 2-1 for vengeurR, but it is going to be a very difficult one.
I feel the same. It's really hard to, and it almost sounds weird considering his opponent is cypher, but it's really hard to bet against vengeurR. vengeur's consistency of straight up excellence is really hard to ignore when it comes to predicting his result versus anyone for that matter. And even though it is cypher, I think a 2-1, like you said, very safe bet, but I feel like the Edge, especially with the nature of being the weeklies, you know, Cypher tends to really like sometimes step up a lot more at like the kind of the more major events and activities. So for the weeklies alone, I would always say that vengeurR probably has a better chance, because there's something about the kind of weekly stage that just seems to be a bit of a comfort zone for vengeurR, no matter who he's against.
Yeah, I do think that when it comes to LAN, Cypher is kind of like cooler in that regard, right?
Yeah.
He gets that power up, he gets that extra boost, because Cooler talked about it in his previous interview. It's the lights, the camera, the audience, just the whole setting. It brings out the best in some players, or it puts extra pressure on the others. So in the LAN setting, I probably would have indeed favored Cypher, but this is a weekly. So we're starting things off on vengeur's point of view, rocking the Galena.
And you always have to decide here with that Doomslayer. The fact that he's going to be... I mean, that LG is always something that you have to think about when you play Doom, especially on this map, because it's like, LG is a very important weapon, but I also don't want to double jump too much. Now, Cypher, he's not going to use it now to try and escape, because it's an absolute death sentence. He has to rely on just running down there, because even though double jump, in theory, gives you better mobility, in an LG room, you're just going to be toast.
Both players starting off pretty aggressively. Cypher taking most of the damage, of course, getting all of his momentum kill, jumping face first into that LG. Pulled out by vengeurR. Now the Italian Stallion, he has got himself set in a good position, cleans up the first frag as well, instantly catching Cypher off the spawn. The Berserk denied with a shoddy to the face. Look at this, the snowball is starting to accumulate, it's taking form. Cypher does secure the Mega, but he really isn't all that healthy.
As vengeurR now pushes forward, any damage he takes will be a free health bubble, and in this situation, you know, he's just about to give himself another totem down whenever he wants to. Shaving off that cooldown quite significantly. Throwing it down to cut him off as Cypher jumps back down, wants to give himself a little bit of extra boost perhaps with that light armor coming back there and totems there. I mean, best of both worlds really, but it will get taken out as Cypher's able to clock it just in time as the Mega spawns.
Still a second out. Cypher does secure it though. vengeurR now. Exact timing. Both players eyeing that Mega. There is of course no railgun on the map that is Corrupted Keep, so heavy machine gun essentially replaces its role as that long distance weapon. Cypher definitely has got the better positioning. He can only show his head, whereas vengeurR
what a cool
is
out.
standing in plain view. Very aggressive push from Cypher. He realized that he had the upper hand after that previous engagement and capitalized off it beautifully as well.
Oh, a massive amount of damage done with the super shotgun and going through the teleporter. Too tempting, perhaps, as vengeurR is able to punish that significantly. The super shotgun, such a devastating weapon on this map for sure. But the LG 1v1 comes through, really betting on his chances thanks to the extra boost of the totem, but to no avail. Cypher gets another frag here, and he's in position for the Mega. There's a bunch of LG damage, and chasing down an SSG, even now with no armor, is scary business. He gets the heavy, and that... Oh, God! Hello.
Cypher just figured, you've done that once, you've done it twice, and you were just waiting there with the shotgun. Now I'm first. He didn't even look, just goes on through and shoots the moment he passes through the teleporter.
Cypher
blindly trusting on it, and indeed,
I mean,
works out nicely. This was a misplay. That was a misplay though. Cypher way early. Don't think he had timing on the Mega at all. vengeurR realizing that, getting himself a free kill. Moving on to the heavy as well, now Cypher, clearly on the back foot. I think this is the first time this map that we've really seen one of the players getting this kind of a dominant setup, and the other one completely relegated to playing a passive game. And vengeurR won't allow Cypher to do just that.
A whole bunch of damage fresh off spawn, and the problem Cypher faces is that he's got no weapons worth a damn to take that fight, as it's now 6-3, but a perfect time for vengeurR to pounce and to just completely push that advantage. You've got a nail gun. Why do I have to care about that?
Pretty good delay between the items as he gets floated up into the air. I wish I could have seen that one from Cypher's point of view. That is such a risky jump, because once you leave the LG spawn, it's such a tempting play to just jump right across. But if you get caught out, Even if you try to angle it towards the stairs on the left or the right, it is so easy for your opponent to float you and stick you to the wall. And that is exactly what Cypher did right there. Oh, I'm loving how he's trying to bait out the double jump. Both players right next to each other. vengeurR isn't shooting! vengeurR just waited for like a full 2 seconds with Cypher basically touching him before he landed that rocket in the back.
I almost feel like he was looking at the potential of like getting the perfect ring out position, perhaps. Like if you can launch him high enough in the best circumstance, then maybe there was a possibility there. He's about to run out and has in fact run out, but he's able to get the heavy. Chasing this one down, looking for the super shotgun, not quite able to land it just yet, but vengeurR actually putting himself in a very, very bad position, and there really was nowhere for him to go there either. Mega was 10 seconds away.
I don't think he had a totem at the ready either to maybe heal up in that spot, so he was really just a sitting duck, bait for Cypher, who has now secured the Mega as well. He's got himself the better position for Heavy to work with. Cypher is bringing this back.
More patience here from vengeurR, in this case, just looking for that information. I did really like that fake double jump, though. You know, that last time Cypher did get taken by surprise. Lovely frag. But you do get to see those small little details. That kind of double jump not round a corner may seem so insignificant to some people, but at this level of play... Goes to the teleporter again. vengeurR tries to position himself, but can't get the rocket. Cypher double jumping all over the place. And never forget, Doomslayer, he hates lightning gun, but he likes rocket launcher.
We are just seeing phenomenal LG today. Oh my goodness. Thinking back earlier about effortless, and now we're getting Cypher just... It's gluing to his opponents, melting them time and time again. Oh, Cypher, you don't want to go for that one just yet, though. vengeurR now healthy as can be. Setting up for Heavy too. Is this the turnaround? The Italian player from Maestro. Finally getting himself both of the major items. Good play from Cypher, though. Knowing that his opponent doesn't have the heavy machine gun and can't engage at that distance. Using it to chip away a significant amount of vengeurR's stack.
And Cypher will have to play this extremely respectfully as he pushes forward. Just about to get potentially a bit more ammo, but not quite. The important task here is going to be that heavy. And he doesn't need LG. Ooh, there's some tri-bolt. Pushing forward with the super shotgun. Oh, the rockets are so good though, and vengeurR's able to melt and delete. Cypher was in a tricky position there because for the longest time he just didn't have LG ammo. So that potential mid-range fight, that kind of almost like poke it down. Not quite able to get much there. Stuck with the tri-bolt only.
One frag of a lead for Cypher still. Loving these positional plays. Beautiful. And somehow the rocket on the exit. vengeurR lucky to have some totems spread around the map, but now he is indeed stuck. Oh, timed that perfectly, but it won't amount to much. Cypher extending his lead. 2 frags ahead. This could still very easily go vengeurR's way, but it is the Na'Vi player who's now reigning supreme.
Some rather phenomenal heavy machine gun action coming out from Cypher as well, it has to be said. Even unscoped. Just having the right weapon for the job every single time, and he's comfortably in the lead. Well, I say that right as he takes damage. Now not. Now not so much. As now 1 frag will tie things up. Cypher. Okay, able to take down one of the totems. No free damage or bonus information for vengeurR. Cypher. Again, neither player wants to make too much noise here. This Mega's in play. Looks like vengeurR's going to pick it up. And he will. Timing belongs to both players now, though, thanks to that sound cue.
Heavy will be going towards Cypher. Pretty big delay between the items as well. vengeurR now again in a really bad spot. This is not where he wants to be to close the gap. Finally brings it down to a 1 frag game again, but Cypher so dominant, already setting up for the Mega. There's really no way into the room for vengeurR at this point. And Cypher perfectly content just securing the items, running from Mega to Heavy and right back again. I also like how he's pushing out right now. We are still on vengeurR's point of view though, so we can see him on that 100-100 stack. Trying to make something of the minute he's got left to work with. What can he do when his opponent is eating up every item on the map?
I've been watching this from Cypher's point of view for the closing couple of minutes, and the absolute patience he has been able to show, but at the same time, not really hiding, just making sure he knows where vengeurR is and always making his position known. Really good damage. And that's going to give vengeurR. They trade armor for armor, but vengeurR gets significantly more. And now we're in that the classic bend. I need to make this defensive play. Hang on. He gets chased and he finds it.
Look at how he backed up to force the spawn. Beautiful play from vengeurR, and he gets the frag. 10 seconds left now. All the pressure on Cypher. He just has to rush them off the spawn, but vengeurR cleverly positioning himself, hiding on this side of the map. Oh, that was close. It really was that one rocket catch up down at the bounce pad, that hundo to the face, forcing Cypher to go down the bend, as you called it, and then vengeurR just totally ready for it. And just, I hope we get to see it in the replay. vengeurR gets that first frag, right? He moves back towards the center of the room. What does he do? He backs up, takes a few steps backwards just to force the spawn down below at the heavy machine gun, because he knows that will allow him to pile on a lot of damage from the start. Beautiful plays from vengeurR.
And I feel like that is one hell of a way to start the series off, with Cypher being kind of just in the lead for so much of it, and the intensity of vengeurR sticking through until the very end. It's so hard, near impossible to count this guy out, ever. He just plays so out of his skin, and able to get so much momentum off that first map, and able to pick him up. The Berserk gets used, but major drawback of Berserk, and why it's absolutely not one of the best abilities in Duel, is that when you pop that Berserk, you're stuck in the duration. You can't cancel it, and Cypher had to really kind of just sit and accept his fate. The second he was able to get that instant burst of speed to, get out of the LG, but what do you do from there? There was not much he could do in that situation. But wonderful play from vengeurR, and now we transition to Exile.
Let's take a look at the predictions made in chat. Seems like the outcome of the first map hasn't really changed the ratio. Seems more or less similar, but this next map is going to be an interesting one. First time we get to see Exile this week. Looking forward to it already. And we're seeing Cypher playing the big man Keel. Lots of stack, lots of damage output, whereas vengeurR, Visor, has got so much information that he can work with that piercing sight.
Yes, and on a map like this, which is, again, very teleporter heavy, there's so many little kind of nooks and crannies and stuff like that, that extra information is always going to be welcome. But again, a bit of a dangerous map. Like, how many times have we seen where, you know, the amount of platforming you're going to have to do just to get even some basic items kind of has you a little bit on the edge of your seat, being like, oh God, he's about to fall in. It's quite a regular occurrence, I think, whenever we watch Exile. And there is that major difference again between the stack. We're going to have that damage, and it's quite a close quarters map, is Exile. Like, it's large, sure, but there's a lot of areas where you can just get surprised and ambushed, and that's what Keel thrives for.
I think we can definitely expect Cypher to be setting a few traps here and there when he knows that piercing sight is no longer available. But this is indeed going to be an interesting one. I wonder if we're going to see some more ring outs. We saw a fair bunch of them earlier on Deep Embrace. That was one hell of a game. And this map too has quite a few of these scary little spots where it is very easy to drop to your death.
Starting things off, watching things from vengeur's point of view. Now, what kind of start do you have on a map with so many different avenues? So far, the rail battle begins. Only Cypher with it in hand. Doesn't quite manage to hit the shots though. And denying from the LG. I like this approach. Another fact that he has LG is going to give vengeurR maybe that burst of confidence, but Cypher now able to hit the important damage and the super shotgun to finish it.
Cypher immediately coming out swinging, good damage dealt. I think that rail was very instrumental to how Cypher approached that situation, knowing that vengeurR didn't have one. And now vengeurR has nothing except for the heavy machine gun and the nail gun. Wants to make a move on heavy. It will be Cypher to secure both of the items. And now vengeurR doesn't have a rail, doesn't have a lightning gun. Setting up a trap with the rockets might just indeed be the best thing that he can do. Cypher slow playing this as well.
Surprise attack. Some of that rocket damage. Now vengeurR, the piercing sight to maybe finish this. Or above all else, just make sure he doesn't get surprised too hard. And he goes down right before the Mega is able to get picked up. That's going to let Cypher collect. Good damage from the rocket to open things up. That's going to get rid of any damage or armor that might have existed, and vengeurR very much on the warpath, especially with that missed rail, and he punishes Cypher massively.
vengeurR getting back into this one. Good positioning for the Mega as well, but there's very little time between the major items. So committing to Mega might give the item, the other one, the armor to Cypher, but it will be Cypher with 1 point of health. The man from Na'Vi, absolutely brutal on the LG engagement. So confident, LG reigns supreme, and off he goes. It's the first one of what might be more to follow. Catch up.
Yep, just so many pitfalls on a map like this, as close quarters as it can be. Ooh, kind of unfortunate there for vengeurR, I think. Kind of had the surprise attack, but just none of that plasma able to really hit its mark, to be honest. And now, so heavily focused. I mean, they're so close to each other all the time. And the fight for heavy is going to take place. Picked up by cypher and vengeurR, showing that the respect to say, right, I'm going to back out. I'm not going to challenge this too hard. A rocket launcher now belonging to vengeurR, which has always been one of his star weapons. Fighting fire with fire. Doesn't need a rail, but able to outdamage. Cypher getting some absolutely glorious LG, but he goes back in towards the rocket and allows vengeurR to pick up right as the Mega spawns.
Rockets indeed. Some of the best weapons of these players. How many times have we said it? The rockets from Belarus, from Cypher, and then vengeurR, also one of the most talented rocket users in the business. And it is Cypher, who has a marginal lead at this point. 1 frag ahead, still plenty of time to go. vengeurR liking the setup here. Out of rockets and no rail to work with though, so this means that it's a risky setup if he wants to go for Mega. Decides against it. I think that's definitely the safe call. Instead, just going around to pick up some extra ammo. And actually, Cypher hasn't even picked up Mega either. vengeurR looks around the corner like, is it still here? Oh, it is. It is. Okay, I'll take it. And they split on the items. Heavy for Cypher, Mega for vengeurR.
But vengeurR a little worse for wear, and well aware of it. That's why the defensive piercing sight's coming out. Not ready to try and set up any damage there. That's just that he could be in so many different places. I need to know where he's going to be. And in this case, walking right into that rail. Now, there's not really a split between the two items just yet. There might be now, as the heavy spawns. Mega is taken. Okay. Any delay that did exist is now totally gone. And Cypher with a significant lead. The rail belonging to vengeurR now. One of the first times we've actually seen him jump down there and take it.
Finally, I was about to say, vengeurR has fired a grand total of 0 railgun shots this entire map. So at long last, he does secure himself that weapon. We always love to see vengeurR use the rail. Such a flashy user of the railgun, always going for the fancy little flicks. Looks like the delay is indeed going to remain minimal at best. Both players picking up the major items at about exactly the same time too. And now you see that keel stack, right? The heavy champion really shining. Because 1 rail is being exchanged, that Cypher is so much more healthy than his opponents. vengeurR, good LG damage, but he needs more. Can he find it? Direct rocket to the face, both players low. Cypher might be able to get it, but no! vengeurR, 17 points of health. Secures himself the frag. Beautiful catch-up.
Now the question is, armor is one thing. All right, nice pathing. He's able to get a little bit of health, but importantly, those hourglasses. Because he was so close to death, even with the armor in hand, being able to see where the danger lies, it's going to give vengeurR so much clearer sight into, right, where do I go now? And he's continuing this objective of just getting his base stack back up to a healthy amount, doesn't get the rail. As Cypher look to push forward, he might have this in mind. The heavy gets picked up, and that's vengeur's cue to try and leave, but can he find it? Mega spawns. Oh, there's the rocket jump. Good luck hitting that one.
vengeurR really is one of the few players who consistently goes for those horizontal rocket jumps just to get a little speed boost. Nice combo there as well. He was waiting. He was waiting for Cypher to go through the teleporter. Ended up not happening, but he had the shot all lined up. This is a really close game of Exile. I feel like it might just be the closest one I've ever casted on this map. Usually, tends to be much more of a one-sided game, but this time around, both players showing each other a lot of respect. Playing a very calculated and slow-paced match.
A little bit of damage on the way, but definitely not enough to write home about. As in this situation, vengeurR, he's just listening. Listening for as much footsteps as he can, because you can truly, when you're down there, you can go anywhere. And vengeurR showing a lot of respect to it. Baiting out that pickup. And although he is going to be correct, gets a bit of damage, but Cypher, the nature of Keel, so heavy. Lovely rail angle. Catches vengeurR on the drop down, and another piercing sight, rail for rail. Oh, Cypher with the angle. Prepared. Always ready. And another shot. vengeurR's in trouble.
Trying to get away. He hears the big man behind him. Good shot, but he needs more. And of course, Cypher relying on that stack of his to just rush on through. He know he can eat 1, 2, maybe even 3 railgun shots. And all that it takes for vengeurR to go down is 1 or 2 shotguns in that situation. So that is a gamble that Cypher will take every single time. Now vengeurR actually pretty good on the positioning. Rockets successfully deterring the Na'Vi player from making a move on the item. Still plenty of time left, and it's still only a 1 frag game.
That's either going to become 0 frags or maybe 1 extra with how things are currently going. The fact that they're constantly all over each other, this has just felt like one really, really, really long fight. But more damage done from vengeurR. Gets the really nice little bit of bonus damage, but it's the rail that definitely hits a lot harder. Mega collected. vengeurR listening out for it, but he's railable with this current health. He's got to be so careful. Manages to pick up a bubble. Only just not railable, but only just.
I think you described it perfectly. This just feels like a constant fight. Even when someone drops a frag and actually dies, it feels like it's all part of the same sort of a wicked.
We're just right back in it, aren't we? We're just right back in it.
It is, and because the scoreline is remaining as close as it is, there's just very little of a delay. Cypher jumping onto the Mega now. vengeurR being pushed right off. Heavy not up for quite some time. That is such an important hit. vengeurR now, there's no way he can really contest for Heavy.
Yeah, but I feel like it's... But he does it anyway? Jumping down. Scary business. No, he's not going to be able to fight for it. Significantly out of control, but guess what? That's vengeurR's speciality.
Also, just really clever from Cypher right there, knowing that he had enough time to go for the small armor basically on the other side of the map before making a move onto Heavy, because he knew that his opponent was so weak that vengeurR couldn't just set up shop and zone him out. Now vengeurR caught in really bad position. The LG is immaculate, and down goes the Maestro player. With a minute left to go, Cypher looking hungry to tie up the series.
And he has the armor. That's certainly going to make life easier, because at this point, you know, it's not about getting any more frags. It's about just protecting the lead that you have. And if he's able to constantly keep vengeurR behind, which he's well on the way of doing, a couple of good nails. And again, looking for an angle. And vengeurR is out of there. But this is taking time. Time that he doesn't have! Oh!
Oh no!
Off he goes. I mean, look, that is the most... Of all maps, that has got to be the most perilous place to go, surely.
Yeah. Nothing else really comes to mind, and now Cypher is just adding them on. 20 seconds left to go. This is guaranteed to be the Navi's player win, as it's going to be 1-1 moving into the final and decisive game of this series, which will be Ruins of Sarnath, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, correct. I mean, we'd mentioned that the Keel wasn't going to belong to Cypher on Ruins, but who cares? Because he was able to get that win on Exile with it. And vengeurR was very much, even though he had a lot of information thanks to the visors, the piercing sight, he wasn't really comfortable, it seemed, at any point in that map. Now, looking at the items alone, Cypher, way more control across both of those. Cypher, you know, technically actually had less damage. It's just that when he landed the damage he needed to, it was enough to, like, get the job done. You know, vengeurR was able to keep Cypher at least at bay enough to survive for a good 80% of that map. But the second vengeurR got caught on that back foot with a couple of minutes to go, he was done for the rest of it. It was a really tricky exchange, I think.
I love the story that rocket damage tells. Cypher only did 100 damage with rockets, but did a tremendous amount of LG damage, whereas vengeurR did over 10 times the amount of rocket damage, and that is just because he's playing a defensive game, constantly moving backwards, placing rockets in doorways to prevent his opponent from pushing onto him, and that just really, really shows. Like, look at it, 1200 rocket damage for vengeurR, 198 for Cypher. That just shows how defensive vengeurR had to approach the series, and despite how excellent his rockets were, Cypher had that extra stack, he had those grenades, and it worked out perfectly in his favor.
So the final matchup, Ison versus Nyx. on the ruins of Sarnath. It's going to be one map apiece here. This is exactly what we wanted.
Yeah.
This is what I think everyone hoped for. It's a real tale of two of some of the best players in the world. You know, they're going to go head to head. You're probably going to get a close exchange. The 2-1 was the safe bet. The question is, who does it belong to? Do you want to check chat and see if the predictions have shifted somewhat?
And we can take a look. I can see the predictions, but I can't immediately see who it's for right now. Unfortunately, a moderator in the chat, so I can't make my own vote. So I can't quite tell. It looks like Cypher does have a pretty sizable lead in predictions, but it's much closer than what I saw earlier. Earlier, on the previous map, it had like a two times lead for Cypher, but it seems to be much closer this time around. So this is going to be a very interesting one. Ruins of Sarnath, right? Nyx being played by Cypher versus Ison being ran by vengeurR.
And Ison, I feel like I actually haven't seen Ison on this map in Duel in quite a while. At least matches that I've been casting anyway. It's just... yeah, we'll just see what vengeurR can bring to the table here. So much extra information you can get just by hearing the turret see something, which is, you know, on a map this big can be quite a big deal. But again, we're going into a light champion picked on Ruins, which light champions tend to be high risk, high reward anyway. That is, I think, further exaggerated on this map. But with Cypher playing the way he does and how careful he can approach, we'll see how he's able to bring this one forward with the Nyx. I'd like to see him take this win. Either side, you know, someone's going to feel real good after this series. Two players that are always gunning for that #1, and they're so close to it.
Starting off once more on vengeurR's point of view. Delaying the mega. He knows that Cypher picked up heavy right off the bat. So if he manages to come out on top in these first half a minute, he should be able to secure both of them. I don't know if Cypher is aware that the item has been delayed. Good play from vengeurR. Probably going to put down the turret as well. Indeed, just wants to zone out the heavy right off the bat. One good rail. This should give him the item. Oh, hang on. Cypher just straight up bullies on through, steals it. Takes a lot of damage in return. The vengeurR, after picking up this mega, will have the better stack of the two.
You always love that kind of initial care that has to be put forward in the opening moments of Ruins. The weapons, very spread out in comparison to a lot of others. And although Cypher does have the weapons he needs, always needs to be careful, especially near heavy. You know, missing that opening shot means that there really is nothing he can do to stop vengeurR from taking that. Best thing he can do really is try and fight for Mega. Control the doorway. Nice bit of positional play here. The rail into the Ghost Walk allows him to put himself up a bit more, but not quite able to. And again, information. Hitting the turret making noise. vengeurR knows, okay, you were still there. But at least no one's going to come off too bad in that exchange. I feel like this is going to be quite a careful first frag here, Flea.
Sure is shaping up that way. vengeurR will be able to get himself the heavy first. Ooh, messes up the rocket jump though. Doesn't quite make it all the way up, and that will give Cypher the mega. Kind of seeing a slow, very rotational game so far. One player secures the heavy, the other secures the mega. There have been a few spats of violence here and there, but no real serious committals and fights all the way through to the end. And vengeurR looks like he will have to give up on the heavy. There's a pretty decent delay. And again, we're seeing the rotation change, right? Cypher secures heavy, and now it's vengeurR setting up on top for the mega. Loving how he pushed out right there. Cypher not expecting his opponent to be right there, as it is the Italian man from Maestro who now steals away the mega. As you said yourself, very calculated, slow first frag.
Checking things out here from vengeurR's point of view, but I'm currently watching it from Cypher's just to see if there's any kind of extra information that I can provide, but it really is a simple exchange either side so far. You know, neither player wants to push too hard, but this might give somewhat of a footing. vengeurR uses this heavy opportunity to back up and take some armor for himself. An aggressive Ghost Walk is being used, springs the trap right in front. But it's after Mega is collected, so not quite. And a danger that Cypher will face. He is kind of running out of ammo, drops down, but he has no rockets. And he has 37 cells of LG. This is not good.
I think if Cypher had popped that Ghost Walk a second sooner, he probably would have been in the lead by now. That one rocket was set to bounce vengeurR straight off the item. vengeurR completely unprepared for such an aggressive rush out of nowhere. But unfortunately, the timing just wasn't dead on. Good rails. We discussed this earlier, Ketchup. Ruins, very dangerous map when you're a light champion out of control and you have to venture out to those open areas to get yourself any armor whatsoever. So Cypher, trying to cling to the stack he's got going for him now.
Now Cypher will have to play this careful game plan. The amount of damage he just did to vengeurR there, come on. He barely had sight of him. The LG was phenomenal, able to pick up more of that ammo. The LG's been quite a magic weapon for Cypher, not only in this map, but throughout the entire series. But here we go again, listening out. About to get a nice amount of armor, and then with this Ghost Walk ready to go. 4 minutes, and not even close to getting a frag. Ooh, did vengeurR see that?
I think he did. I'm sure he did. Even he saw the blue sparkles. He knows exactly what happened right there. Turret doing a bit of damage.
Knowing that the Ghost Walk is down, does vengeurR try and be a bit more aggressive perhaps? Because he knows that the Ghost Walk's gone.
He's outstacked though. He's only sitting at base stack. I also love seeing how Cypher adapted to the situation, right? He noticed earlier that vengeurR pushed out from his position on the Mega to go from a rail on the bounce pad. So this time around, you can tell that Cypher just hugs the top of the bounce pad as to not even give his opponent any sort of a glimpse at him. Clever, adaptive playstyles, just the way we know Cypher.
Just getting that turret out of play. Half of the map is done easily. Our most, I think our slowest pace map that we've had all day. But with this heavy about to spawn, it has been consistently Cypher that is sitting on the heavy position. Having the vast majority of them. Oh, that was a really cute. Yeah, again, we didn't see it on the stream, but Cypher just went for a really nice jump pad nail boost to give himself like a bonus rail angle. He's trying to go for all the cheeky surprise damage he can go for now. Comparison of items being taken. Cypher had control a little bit more over the heavies, 6-5, but it has been the lights. vengeurR, he's been content, right? Cypher takes the heavy, then vengeurR just doubles up and just gets himself back up to base stack. But this is where we change.
This has been a comparatively slow game, by far the slowest match we've seen all day, even in comparison to their previous matches, their previous maps rather. This is just a difference, night and day difference. 6 minutes in, still not a single frag has been made.
Might
LG
change now.
LG.
Oh, the rail!
Cypher standing his ground, getting a shot off. It connects and takes down vengeurR, and now vengeurR has the difficult task ahead of him of chasing down a Nyx. Very difficult to hit because of her small frame. Then, of course, that Ghost Walk, the get out of jail free card, so powerful. Cypher!
Oh, cute!
What? He just goes for it, using the wall jump to get that extra bit of height, catching his opponent completely by surprise. vengeurR a little late on the flick, and Cypher extends his lead. Once again, hyper-aggressive with the shotgun. Is it going to work? No! Rail on 10 points of health.
But wait, he's
vengeurR.
gone up the jump pad! vengeurR going up the jump pad, playing right into the hands of a freshly spawned Cypher who just needed a couple of hits of the starting machine gun. Wow. We went from it being a very, very close exchange with no frags to, oh my god, this is going at 1,000 miles an hour. Will things stabilize? Cypher has to be patient and careful now. No armor to his name. vengeurR stacked through the teeth.
Whereas Cypher doesn't even have any armor to work with, doesn't have the Ghost Walk up either. vengeurR, of course, aware of that, will push on. And look at the stack now. vengeurR looking so good. He's got all the weapons to work with as well. Cypher, he wants to pick up one of those small armors on either side of the map, but he knows that that is being watched. vengeurR is just keeping that center area of the map under lock and key. I think Cypher realized that vengeurR made a move on the Mega and used that as an opportunity to get on out. Oh, vengeurR's gonna hear him now.
He knows the Ghost Walk has been used and he's trying to position himself just in case there's fighting there heavy, but Cypher quite worried, you know, he's going to look at that and say, no thanks. Don't want to push too hard in on the Ison that has all the ammo, the weapons, way more stacked than me, and is already in position for the heavy. Not a fight that was going to win. Wow, that turret doing a ton of damage.
Turret's definitely helped out a fair bit. Cypher took around 60 points of damage there, I feel like, and he has to take it down now. That's giving vengeurR quite a bit of information. Gets the read wrong though. Cypher is actually down below at the LG.
He heard the teleporter. Definitely heard that telly.
vengeurR is pretty well aware of where Cypher is at right now.
And cypher is absolutely hiding for his life, but quite rightly so. You look at how much stack vengeurR is looking at. The fact that he's got all the weapons, all the ammo, and you never count out this guy's comeback factor at all. The clutch. Looking for a shot. It's a rocket launcher this time. Maybe just at the time not having the right weapon. Ghost walk used, but so many potential ways he can run away. Where's it going to be? cypher has been able to hide from vengeurR for an entire minute, but now stuck in a really tricky position. He's going to go down the hole, but he can't get away. The rail's so clean. vengeurR threads the needle.
Beautiful shot, and he's immediately going for more, and once again, oh my god, vengeurR really piling it on now. Going once, going twice, and down drops the next, and now it's vengeurR with a tremendous stack. And a lead as well with 40 seconds. cypher, what can you do except for eat a lot of unwanted damage from the turret? He's actually pushing. cypher so risky. One more rail will get him the frag though, but vengeurR has got some health to work with.
The tables have turned. Oh, he has the rail angle. This isn't over yet. cypher, can he find him? He has 20 seconds, and all the while vengeurR, he's picking up health all over the place. cypher needs to find him now. He needs to land the damage and not take any himself. That drive-by rail missing might be where things end. He finds the way. Can he get it? No! The rail at the last minute. No, a final shot for you. It's vengeurR. Oh my god. One of the closest sets we've had in a very long time, I think, that one.
I mean, that makes the heart race, doesn't it? Jesus, look at that. For a moment there, it looked like cypher was going to find one more final rail to tie it back up, but vengeurR confidently holding his ground, rocket into rail combo. Deserved victory, but it was a hard-fought one. Our calls. Catch up, we were right once again. vengeurR securing himself the win, but my oh my, that could really have gone either way.
Oh, so many moments of clutch. There was almost too many to count from both sides. Those fights, the amount of just clutch rails or, you know, key weapon swaps, like, situations like that, for crying out loud. That miracle rail that he needed to land vengeurR with the chase down. And even here, oh, he had an inch. He had an inch to work with. And that's going to be a GG at the end. Almost just no emotion either side there. Absolute focus and concentration. There was so much intensity on both of those player cams. They know who they're against. You know, they know how seriously they need to take this one. And they did. And they gave us all one hell of a series.
Yeah, indeed. You have some of those players like Kilson, for example, or The Hang, or even Rafa, who are very expressive when they play. And then you've got others who are basically, they're a rock. Right, Razy, for example, but also vengeurR and cypher, clearly extremely intense, nothing but focus. Well played to both of these players, once again proving that they are without a doubt some of the absolute best in the world.
A match that we all looked forward to, and it certainly delivered. But it's over already, unfortunately, because now we are going to be moving into our final two matches of the day. Our next matchup should be, in fact, Zenecu versus Cygib, which we kind of touched on this a little bit at the start of the day, but I'm excited for this one purely because of Zenecu in his current form against Cygib. I think he's got a good chance here, and it's always a pleasure to watch Cygib anyway. Final matchup to close out the Americas for the day before we then do our final matchup, which is going to be a real heavy-hitting one, but we're going to go for a break while we set things up. Don't go anywhere because Quake Pro League will be back in a few minutes' time.